And it's time to have that conversation that no parent wants to even think that it's happening. Why would grown men go after little girls? Shame on you if you are one of those. But why do the girls even agree? What did they tell them? My colleague, who is our Ashanti regional correspondent, Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, has an interesting story to share with us today on the show. And he's joined us via Skype. I want to start with him before I introduce to you who we're having this conversation with in studio. So Mahmoud, first of all, good morning. Thanks for the story. Hello, Nuruddin. Nuruddin, can you hear me? Okay, so I'm not sure we have a connection to Mohammed Nuruddin yet. I will try and say hello to him again. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, not quiet. So let me just introduce Amma Duncan, who's a corporate trainer, founder of the Fabulous Woman Network, and she is a mother. She's a mother. Amma, good morning. Thanks for being here.
Good morning, Mama B.
You have a little girl.
Yes, I do.
Okay. And then, of course, Mr. Amos Kevin Annan is our life coach. Good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning, Mama V.
I know that you work on stories like these every now and then. You travel a lot?
Yes. I had just come back to town after 11 days outside, engaging with young people in Italy.
Okay.
And when you hear these stories, it's worrying, but it's not an exception.
Sure. All right, so I wanted to bring back that conversation, Nuruddin. When we established contact with him, we'll hear why he decided to take on this. But let's hear these little girls have a conversation with him and what they had to say.
My age is 11 years. They call me for you talking to me. They say they love me in the community. And I'll report them to my parents.
In Setman's house, every day said I should come and visit him, but I don't like that. And my parents told me that I should not visit anyone in outside.
How do you feel anytime they call you?
In future, when I'm talking to a man or what, future, even my parents, future with them.
Does it affect you? I'm talking about, does it affect you when they call you, maybe want disturbing you for a contact?
Yes, it affects me. Because I'm afraid of those people. I didn't know them.
Okay, you don't know those who are even calling you for your contacts?
Yes, I don't know them. I've not met them before. Even when I'm going out, I've not seen, but some of them, but those people who stay around us, I know them, but some of them are their friends, but I don't know them.
They call me for you talking to me. They say they love me in the community. And I'll report them to my parents. And my teachers, I report them to my parents before my teachers.
So how do you feel when they call you and say they love you?
I feel sad. Because I don't like those things.
Like the things that is happening is after school, going home, I can meet someone on the road, maybe a scammer, and he will call me. Sometimes I won't mind, but sometimes I will mind and go because I don't know what the person is about to tell me. If I go and I hear what the person is about to say, I can tell what I feel to him, maybe no. But
what exactly do they tell you?
Maybe they want to have a relationship with me, but sometimes I will say no. I will tell them I'm not the age of getting in that relationship.
Can you put them into numbers? How many men have proposed to you before?
There are 3. Yeah.
Can you be able to tell me their ages?
Some may be 17, 19.
Someone has proposed to me before.
What did he tell you?
He just told me he loves me. That's what he told me.
And
that he wants to just have a relationship with me.
That's all that he said?
Yes, that's
what. Add anything?
He just told me he wants to have a relationship with me just because I should know myself as an adolescent, and so I have to think fast. I have to think as an adolescent, and so I should understand what he said and just agree and concord with him so that he will just make my life easy for me.
Who is this person that proposed that kind of love to you? Do you know him, and who is he?
I don't. I just met him by the roadside, but he's my neighbor. He's my neighborhood. He just stays behind our house, and I don't really know him, but I think he's in a.
What does he do? Is he a student? Is he working? What does he do?
He's also a student as am I.
Heartbreaking if you're a woman, if you're a parent, if you're a father. I know fathers don't play with their girls, and you hear your little girls speak like this. Men have approached them, they've told them they love them. Like, what do they really mean by that? But Nuruddin is joining us, and hopefully he can hear me. He's joining us via Skype now. Mahmoud, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Mama Lee.
All right, good morning. Thanks for this story, but what made you go there? Did the girls come to you to tell you that this is what is happening?
Not exactly. Mama B, what happened was that I look at the recent incidents of, defilement cases in the Kumasi metropolis and the region in general. And I realized that there was something going on wrong somewhere. So I tried the story and found out exactly whether it was really coming from the girls or it was coming from the men. So I went some of the schools to speak to, and I must say that these are just a few of those that I spoke to. Some of them are really into it, and they told me off camera, but they don't want to speak to our issue.
When you said they are really into it, like they are dating the grown men?
Exactly. So if you listen to one of the interviews that I have with one of the teachers in the school, she tells me that some even come to drop them in school, meaning they are going into it. Some wouldn't want to speak into detail about what they are into, but I can say that some of them are really into it.
Okay, so what's their background? Like, is it that they are not being taken care of at home? What's the motivation?
Not they are I spoke to them, all of them, and they are being taken care of. I mean, all of them are in a private institutions, and if your parents are able to send you to a private institution, I mean, it means that they have something to really, they have money to really take care of you. And they are being taken care of. It's not about whether they are not being taken care of or not. One of the interviews I had, the last girl that I spoke with told me that it is normal. That was what they were told. It's normal that when they get to that stage, men will actually approach them, and it is normal for them to have such feelings. So it isn't anything strange to them, but they would have to be careful with men that call them to propose love to them.
So how are they keeping that away from their parents at home?
Well, I tried to find out why they would want to keep that from their parents. They wouldn't want to tell their parents. They have no reason. They were not able to give me any tangible reason. One of them said even if he had told the elder brother, the elder brother is a ruffian, and so he wouldn't even take it serious. So she had just decided to keep it unto herself. But they normally discuss with each other. I mean, as friends, so we have friends and discuss issues, and that is so I think that is where they give each other advice and on what to do, on what not to do. Few of them appoint their teachers in the schools to speak to. Aside that, I mean, they don't discuss it with the parents.
Mahmoud, I want to say thank you for this. We're going to put the full report together, and then we will be, because you spoke to quite a number of them, so we'll be releasing those reports in bits. But thanks a lot. We have a conversation on this, what you brought to us. Thank you so much. That's Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin, who is our correspondent in the Ashanti region. In here, of course, I do have Mr. Kevin Amos Annan and Ahmad Duncan. So we've seen it, we've heard, but you know that this is happening.
Oh yes, certainly. It's not a recent development. It has been something that had existed in the past. I was involved in preschool workers and caregivers training for about 7 years. And anytime I make them do a retrospective reflection on growing up and some of the discomforts that adults visited upon them, you would find these older women in pain because the memory recall, they visit unpleasant situations of their lives where older people had preyed upon them. And this I won't call a relationship, I call predatory. It's exploitative, and because no minor can consent to a relational engagement with an older person.
Are you saying the young girls don't know what they're doing?
They just don't know what they're doing.
Even when they say, I love you back?
You see, how many adults have processed the whole concept of love sufficiently? Even for us as adults, we are grappling with the real weight and the complexity of love. So think about these young people. I can understand that quite a number of them are coming from homes where love is not really being expressed and verbalized. You see, as a parent, you could show love by deeds and acts, but if you don't verbalize it to the girls, they desperately want to hear somebody say, I love you. Yeah. And so there may be a hunger for it that predisposes them to danger and becoming vulnerable when these adventurous wolves, you know, prey upon them. Yeah, I would describe them as adventurous wolves. I mean, because to prey upon a young person of this nature, it's callousness, it's wickedness, it's sheer barbaric traits that you're showing.
I must seem to agree with you on this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's just mean. Yeah. And I think they may be sick. It's not possible that everything is working well in
up there.
Yeah.
But these are girls, these are young children. I don't even want to call them girls. These are children. They are approached by these grown men. How can parents even know that this is what is happening?
I think that we as parents need to communicate more with our children. Be in touch with them, you know, find out what's going on from day one, because that's the only way. And then, of course, take note of how they are like, and then identify differences in the way they behave and everything, because otherwise you might miss it. We are so busy with work and everything. If you're not communicating with them, looking at them, you know, checking this and that, asking questions. So how was your day? Who did you play with? I do that to my girl and my boy a lot. Yeah.
It's good you're here. You're a corporate trainer. You know the corporate woman today is really busy.
Absolutely.
Where's the time to even say how was your day? Because you might get home and your children are sleeping.
I know that, yes, we are busy, but it's not an excuse.
Yeah.
When I am introducing myself, I always like to say I'm a wife, then a mother, before corporate trainer. For me, those are even more important than my job. What is the point in having all that money if my kids I'm not available for them and they're going wayward? I don't know. We have to make time. There is no excuse. It's like eating, sleeping. It's basic. We have to have time for our kids.
You know, the children also have their own mind. If they've agreed to the relationship, what can you do? How can you get them to realize that what they are into is wrong? Mr. Annan?
Well, I mean, like my sister said, it's important to have the conversation, and it is through the conversations that you have with the children that you'll be able to streamline and realign anything that is going AWOL. There are some things that young people pick up through peer engagement. And once their peers validate those activities, they consider them to be okay. Now, even where it is abnormal in the home, once peers say it's normal, these young people just go with that. Pre-adolescents, for instance, tend to become preoccupied with daddy, mommy, and family.
Yeah.
But when they become adolescents, it's peers and friends. So there's a shift from parents and family to peers and friends. And this is where, if parents fail to identify who are the peers of their children, they then introduce them to activities that undermine anything parents are doing. Some parents take a hostile posture towards their children's peers and friends. And there's a certain sense of solidarity that comes with these young people. Yeah. And so if you are driving away my friends, I would as well fight on their behalf. And they may betray you as a parent. So it's not hostility, it's friendly engagement. But it's worrying when you discover that some parents can even boldly say, my children are not my friends. So who should be their
People
friend?
say that?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I've been to many parents' workshops, I mean, over the years, and you hear parents say, my children are not my friends. And some children would even boldly say, one boy told me, I live with my dad and mom as co-tenants.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is in the Western world, but it gives us some inkling.
But that's strong.
Yeah. He has come to the
Does he pay rent?
Co-tenants, they just exist. I mean, it's existential. There's no engagement. You see, you can behave at the superficial level, and teenagers know how to do that. They know how to do that very well. I mean, we've all been teenagers before. And you know how you can be artificial with your friends.
Yeah. You know that daddy doesn't like this. So you will pretend this is not happening when daddy's around.
Exactly. When you're watching your favorite program where daddy disapproves, I mean, once you know the car is entering into the yard, you just
switch it off. That's all.
Either turn off the television or switch to a different channel. I mean, and today in the world of alternatives, there are so many things that are engaging people. But more frightening are those who have a mindset that says sex after 10 years is too late.
What?
I'm sorry?
Yeah,
sex
I know
after
that
10 years is too late.
It got to waking up.
What?
there is a group that I mean, I deal with boys who are being preyed upon as well, and you would see it's even worse among the boys.
But are these Ghanaian children you're talking about?
Ghanaian children.
And they think that sex after 10 years is too late.
Because of the kind of things they're reading. Wow. And there are some adults out there who have a preoccupation with children. They don't get attracted to adults. They're not interested in any female older folk. They're looking for younger ones. And with the younger girls especially, any sense of intimacy that is introduced, it becomes oxytocin induced. There's a hormone in women called oxytocin that is induced for bonding. Now, when that is activated in adolescents, it's frightening because then they bond with a man which they have no business getting bonded to.
Amma, at what age? Because, you know, one of the things or the questions to answer also is at what age can my child, my daughter, say that I have this boyfriend and this is how old he is?
I think 18 is acceptable. I mean, it's just a boyfriend who is really a friend that you are a little more friendly with than the others. So 18 is acceptable. By then, hopefully you'll be in first year in university, or maybe you've finished secondary school. You're a little more, I mean, you can vote at 18. So yeah, we can start orienting you about boyfriends from that age. Yeah.
Can such a girl say that I have a 45-year-old boyfriend?
No, I think that's not acceptable. What business does a 45-year-old have with an 18-year-old? It's ridiculous. What are you going to do for them? At 45, you should be settling down, or you should have settled. Your child should be close to 18 already. what business do you, what
But what
how
if,
do you
what
hang
if,
out?
what if that little girl tells you that, Mommy, I love him?
No, we will have to find solutions. I am a Christian. The first thing I'll do, actually, there's something else I'll think about. I'm thinking about, but I can't say it on national TV. But the second thing is I'll pray Holy Ghost fire over your head and then report you to some authority. I mean, yes, you are 18, you are an adult, but I need to be able to talk you out of it. I need to make you understand. If I have to use my own personal experiences or whatever, but you can't go. No, go ahead. That's your opinion. Yes, no correct 45-year-old would go after an 18-year-old. I mean, if she's 25, 30, it's okay. 18, she's now finding herself, and this is the time to be a youth, and you want to go with someone who is almost in midlife. And
Ms. Anna, you see how difficult it is for her to...
Yeah, it is. I mean,
but this is happening.
It's not her field, so
no,
I can understand
she's talking as a parent.
Yeah, I understand.
And you will not know what to do. Like, you even find your thoughts when you hear that your little girl is telling you that, Mommy, but this is the guy, this is the man that I want. You have no idea how it feels like when I'm with him.
What do you do?
How do you get her out of that?
What do you do when you find a young lady read 25 Ways to Win a Married Man's Heart?
Huh?
Okay, what do you do? I mean, she's...
Are they reading that?
They're reading that.
Oh, my God.
I've had girls who sit and they go like a cell group and they discuss how to win married men. I mean, they are not interested in boys. And these are young girls like 18, 19, 20. 21-year-old guy says the fact that a woman is married makes her even more desirable.
Yeah, I have experienced that.
21.
I have experienced.
They are making overtures towards you.
That's his
targets. Like you.
Yeah, that's his targets.
Trim and
smart.
I mean, you are going to have these guys all around you, trying to make moves that you can't believe they are capable of making. Yeah. And many of them, they just want to push the boundaries and see how you respond.
Ama, you meet them. When they are coming, they are coming with a mindset that you're probably frustrated in your marriage.
Exactly. Yes. That's where it starts. They look for the frustrated one.
I have news for them.
So much as that is happening, it's untenable. So there's a need first and foremost to evaluate the foundations of these young people. What were the building blocks? The value systems. You see, today I see a lot of young men and women rushing into relationship as though it was an emergency, but it's not. It's important, yes, it is, but it's not an emergency. So there's no crisis situation that should compel you to be desperate about relationships. And we are skipping a vital ingredient of friendship. Many young boys and girls are no longer developing their platonic, innocent friendships. I've just written a piece in the beginning, God created attraction. And I tell you, people are getting attracted to people and they think it's okay to go into a relationship simply because you're attracted to the person. But you don't go into a relationship simply because you're attracted to someone. So you may see a young lady, very beautiful, cute, attractive, plump and all that. But does that mean you should have a relationship with them? Your conscience should tell you, you are a settled adult and you have to be a decent adult. If you go and propose, I tell my youth workers that if you go and propose to a young lady, if she accepts your proposition, you are in trouble. If she declines your proposition, you are even in more trouble. Why? Because all her friends are going to hear about it. Yeah. So CEOs, supervisors who are preying upon young ladies, service persons are having it, interns are having it, everywhere. Yeah. And so they descend. A young man talked to me about his father dating his sister's friend. And they're all 18. And they discovered that the dad was actually going out with this girl. He had to travel with this girl out of this country. I mean, can you imagine the devastating effect of such a thing on growing young people? You have no idea. So there's a certain legacy we are leaving, which is not a good one. And it says that the fathers have eaten sour grapes and the children's teeth have been set on edge. Many young people are suffering things that are a leftover of behavioral patterns parents have set in motion for them. And they are struggling to get out of it. And it's a difficulty.
So how do you come out? Because we are waiting. How do you get her out? I mean, she said prayer, the number one thing she didn't share with us. But maybe I'm thinking what
I've
she's
spoken about conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, you need to converse with the child to dig deeper, because if you scratch the surface, you won't get any response. And then also, if you become a bit aggressive or abrasive, the child is going to go into more hiding, and they would be afraid you're going to go after this individual. And many adolescents will not want to be the first person to betray someone's trust.
Yeah.
And so if you're going to be the individual, then they better don't speak.
Yeah.
You need to really persuade them. You don't coerce them, but you persuade them and give them double assurance that when you get the information, you are not going to be blown away into reacting, but you want to creatively respond to the issue. And you are not going to create a hullabaloo about it, because they don't want their image to be impugned. Neither do they want somebody to be in crisis. So they would more or less want to secure their interests at the peril of their own lives. And that's something you can't even believe it's possible, but it does happen.
Amma, do you think it could be too late at some point in the child's life?
Yes, I was actually getting to that. I think that this is the time when they are young, the moral values we give them determine the things they do. Like when I was a child, I was in girls' fellowship, Methodist girls' fellowship, and the kind of training, the kind of things they tell you, you're a child, you believe it, and you tend to grow up believing those things, and because of that, there are certain things you wouldn't do. I mean, there are some you do anyway, but you feel like, okay, this is wrong. you know it is wrong. It gives
like
you
you're guilty doing
guilt, exactly. And then okay, I have a relationship with God. I'm not supposed to do this and that and that. And I think that we need to work a lot as a country, as parents, as people, on our moral standards. The sort of things we are watching on TV, some are not helping. Sometimes my own kids' channels, there are kids channels that I've told them you can't watch again. And there are kids on kids TV. I don't want to mention some of the stations, but it's kids TV. So if we are not inculcating these values in them the same way we had it when we were kids, then we are actually at fault as well.
Mama V, you see, one of the things that is happening is that we are hurrying our children into we are hurrying them into premature adults. And they are not well cooked, well baked, well prepared for the challenges of adulthood.
Is that because of our schedules?
Well, our schedules could contribute to that. Also, it's also the many sources of information today.
Okay.
You know, because the fact of me having access to a lot of data or information does not translate to understanding.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're receiving so much, but do they have the time and the discipline to process what they're receiving? And that is an issue that we need to engage with. I mean, I heard someone who said her 3-year-old child is able to fidget with her phone and go to other places. Initially, she didn't pay attention. And then she said she noticed that the child was now interested in a particular place. And it was on the internet. And she hadn't put in any, filtering processes or anything. And then she chanced upon it and decided to interrogate the content and realized that this is really inappropriate. So there's a need for parents to also pay attention. Even TV classifications in this country is a problem. I mean, things we should be watching after 10 p.m. are being shown in broad daylight. You know, those who sit in buses from Kumasi coming to Accra, the kind of things that are shown in these buses. I mean, if you have your child in, you'll be blown away. One time I had to confront a driver. I mean, this is 2 adults trying to have sex, and a child is hidden under the bed and will stick his head out from time to time. And then I screamed from where I was sitting. I said, "Driver, what are you doing?" And there were children in the bus. The next thing you see will be these children practicing that, because they role play these things and mimic it. When we were with these preschoolers, whenever they slept during the break, caregivers found boys on top of girls pretending to be having sex with them. And they struggled to control these boys. And you ask yourself, where did they pick these things from? And so with time, they begin to think that this is a way to go, and it destroys them in a long while. So we as adults and parents have a huge responsibility to ensure that we don't expose our children to danger. Much as we protect them from fire, naked fire and all that, and gas, we should do the same when it comes to behaviors that can dispose them to more trouble. And many of which, when you get into, is a downward slide. And you go into a crevice that you'll be very I mean, you find it difficult to get out.
Let me just read a few of the messages that are coming through. Emmanuel Agleta in Ho says, Mama, we bring the young girls to the studio. You'll be amazed what they will tell you. The fertility level will blow you away. This one says, the young girls these days will target the marriage men because some do say they give them money and they don't worry them. Reverend Richmond Ababa, Methodist minister in Secondary, sending us that message. We're grateful. This one says, I must say I'm enjoying the show this morning, but really can't imagine my 18-year-old girl introducing a 45-year-old man as the one she loves. Well, we just need to pray for our girls. Christy from WA is sending that message. This one says the ideal age should be after your tertiary education. Doris in Kentampo. This one says, I think as parents we should be the #1 counselor of our wards and also make them our #1 friends so they can feel free to tell us all their confrontations. And not she in your name sending us this message. And this one says the young girls know the skills more than the old ones, so please allow the old men to enjoy. Okay, Bone Marrow from Ifijase Asokori. I knew we would not all agree, even though these are underage children, but thanks for the message. This one says, okay, somebody liking you. Please, apart from an ideal dating age, may I know an ideal age to seek premarital counseling, hence marriage, especially for the males?
You see, marriage counseling should not be limited to a certain period when you are ready for marriage. That's too short, inadequate also. When a person hits adolescence, all the preparation we are giving them is towards marriage and life.
Life, exactly.
So what you do is that you prepare the child for life, and marriage becomes a subset of life.
Okay.
What we see, however, is that people are desperately looking for a relationship when they don't even have life.
Here's a difficult one. Prosper says, love is complicated. I agree with them, but you can't prevent a young girl from staying away from love. What is love? Okay, so, you know, we have to close the show. But how can people tell? I mean, how do you monitor? I want, you know, like the practical things. How do you monitor your young girl?
Well, I do some observation and then I ask, well, we chat a lot. We are both talkative, so we talk a lot about school, about things, about anything. So
she'll tell you if she has a crush or something?
Oh, gosh. Well, we haven't gotten there yet, but I hope she tells me that. Oh, God.
Help the girls not to have crashes because they don't have crash helmets.
But if she was to say, I like this guy in my class, what would you think about that?
Well, we'll talk deeply about it. You know, I'll try to find out, I mean, what kind of like, what do you even mean by you like?
Okay.
We'll talk and we'll talk. And
this is painful.
It is, trust me.
I mean, what would be the things that you would say we can monitor about our children so we know?
I think that parents ought not get fixated about monitoring.
Okay.
As they should rather be interested in building friendships. Because you see, friends influence friends, friends listen to friends, friends have a way of standing with friends. So there's a need for parents to move away from just being typical parents and developing friendships with their children.
Okay.
The second thing is get to know whoever is within the circle of your ward or your child. It's very important. Thirdly, check the things they're reading, whether it's online or printed material. Because there are individuals who are engaging with our children who sign up as minors but are actually adults.
Yeah.
And they prey upon our children innocently and they try to meet them. You go to the shopping malls and you observe a very frightening development. That's where many of them hang out. You meet a lot of these girls sitting with older men. And there's a need for our agencies of state to also act to protect our children. The profiling of people coming into this country who are pedophiles themselves and they escape the scrutiny of our regime is itself a scary situation. And so we need to profile people who come here as tourists. Some come actually for the pleasure time. And many of them, before they come, they will have links with a lot of young girls. And now escort business in Ghana is a growing business. And they are recruiting minors and young people into these things, especially those who look nice and tall and plump. But when you look at their size and their age, there seems to be some disconnect. Those are the ones who are becoming vulnerable.
This is not the end of this conversation. This is definitely to be continued because, you know, we hit the streets and we wanted to know what age is appropriate. It will be interesting to know what people had to say. But for today, I am grateful. Thank you so much. Amadankan, thanks a lot for being here. And I like Coach, so we are always together.
It as well.
But this is to be continued.
We
will continue this in a different way, and then we would activate the lines when we do, and then get your opinions as well, and also your take. And then if you have any experience, please feel free to share with us. You can send us messages even when we are off air on 0560 800,000. That's the WhatsApp number. Stay with us today on our show ahead of the NDC's campaign launch. We do have the General Secretary of the NDC, General Mosquito, joining us on Talk later this morning for a conversation. One more thing before that, stay with us.
Your mother teach you about sex?
Yeah, she's very cool. My mom is a very nice person. If you have a problem, you can easily go to her and talk to her.
What did she tell you about sex?
And she told me to stay away from it, and even if I try it, I should use a condom or I should be careful. That's what she told me when I brought my boyfriend home. She told me.
How old were you when you took your boyfriend home?
I was 20.
Okay.
I'm 21 now.
Okay, and your boyfriend is how many years?
He's 24.
Oh, okay. So what? Your mother taught you how to abstain or use a condom?
Abstain.
Which of them did you heed to?
Both.
You heeded to the abstinence and heeded to the condom use?
Both.
No, you just cannot heed to both.
I was dating him before I took him home, so I abstained for a while, and then I started using the condom when I decided to.
So when Mommy said you could use the condom, you decided to start using the condom?
Oh yeah, I decided to use it to prevent HIV/AIDS and those STDs too.
Not pregnancy.
Oh, man, pregnancy too. It's a blessing in a way.
But Mommy said, abstain. If you want to abstain, use a condom. Why didn't you hit to the first one?
I did, but the honam.